This may look like gibberish to you. No, it's not a complex equation, and no, I'm not a mathematician. This is a very intimate code, a code that represents a change in my DNA. To understand this code gave me knowledge, and it saved my life. It also did three things. It educated, equipped, and empowered me to make informed decisions about my health. I hated her. For the first time in my life, I hated my mother. I wondered, did she love me? Did she care about me? Did she want to see me grow up, get married, become a mom of my own? My mom cared. I know my mom cared, but she forgot. She forgot about her health because being a wife came first. Being a mom came first. Work came first. But what should have also come first was her health. Scheduled mammograms and well woman exams got rescheduled because life got in the way. And ultimately, she got away. Breast cancer impacted 3 generations of women in my family. My great-grandmother, my grandmother, and the latest was my mother, who was diagnosed at the age of 49 with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. This disease tried to strip her of her joy, her beauty, her faith, and her strength. But my mom fought. And although she didn't win her battle earthside, she fought her fight, she kept her faith. I was 21 when my mother passed away. And a couple of months later, my father was diagnosed with prostate cancer. I remember asking myself, what is going on in my family? My mother, now my father. Was cancer coming for me? Was I next? I had questions and I knew I needed answers. So I reached out to my doctor and together we came up with the next best steps. I updated her on my family history and she was very adamant about me getting genetic testing to see if I was high risk for certain cancers. And at the time, I really didn't know what that meant, but I knew I needed an answer. So we discussed genetic counseling and genetic testing. And at the age of 22, my results revealed I was BRCA2 positive. So what does that mean? Let's take a look and see what I've learned. BRCA stands for the breast cancer gene. Everyone has the BRCA1 and BRCA2 gene. BRCA genes do not cause cancer, they help to prevent us from getting cancer. And through genetic testing, you find out if you carry a mutated gene. A mutation occurs when the DNA that makes up the gene is broken in some way. Men and women can carry a BRCA mutation. Mutations can be passed on to children. And a BRCA mutation has been found to increase a person's risk of developing breast and ovarian cancer, as well as elevated risk for other cancers. So what does that mean for me? It means as a BRCA2 carrier, I have an 87% risk of developing breast cancer compared to the average woman who's at a 12 to 13% risk over her lifetime. I have a 47% risk of ovarian cancer and an elevated risk for melanoma and pancreatic cancer. A BRCA2 carrier also has a high risk for prostate cancer, but I don't have a prostate, so I don't have to worry about that. But I do wonder who I inherited my gene from. I would think my mother because of the multiple cases on her side of the family. But my father had prostate cancer, and he's a survivor, and he plans to get tested. Having had this knowledge, I needed to equip myself to protect my health. So at the age of 22, I began to see a high-risk oncologist to monitor my breast and ovarian health. She got to know me. She knew that getting married and becoming a mom and even breastfeeding was very important to me. So we discussed hormone therapy, which would drastically reduce my risk by 50%. We discussed increased surveillance, which would aggressively monitor my breast and ovarian health. And we also discussed prophylactic or preventative procedures to drastically reduce my risk. And at that time, at the age of 22, increased surveillance was the best for me. And at that time, I had my first or my baseline mammogram at the age of 22 and transvaginal. And over the course of the next decade, I had them annually, in addition to breast MRIs and breast ultrasounds rotationally to monitor my breast health and ovarian health. If abnormal growth were to occur, I knew I would catch it early. I felt empowered by my decision. Also, over the course of those 10 years, I too became a wife and a mom of my own. But I saw myself going down the same patterns of not making my health a priority. But I knew better. I had been educated. I needed a new course of action. So after talking with my husband and talking with my doctor and prayer, I decided to explore other options. And in December 2016, at the age of 31, I had a bilateral prophylactic mastectomy, or a double preventative mastectomy, to drastically reduce my risk of breast cancer from 87% down to a 1 to 2% below residual risk. And I still receive transvaginals to this day to monitor my ovarian health. I felt empowered by my decision. I was physically ready for my journey. I listened to my doctor, I worked out, I ate healthy, I recovered fairly quickly. But I was not ready for the mental or emotional impact of my decision. I had always been a confident woman, but for the first time, I began to question my womanhood. I didn't have any breast. Was I still beautiful? Was I still a woman? Was my husband still attracted to me? My husband loves my body, and he tells me every day that I'm beautiful. And through my faith and my family and my friends, I realize my breasts do not define me. They are just a piece of me. It is my strength, it is my character, and it is my self-worth that defines who I am as a woman. I also realized that I had been angry for 10 plus years towards this disease for tearing my family apart. But along this journey, I've learned to embrace my scars. And I've learned that through hardship, I have been gracefully broken and rebuilt with strength. So no, I didn't hate my mom. I loved my mom. But I was 18 at the time, and life was about me. And nothing can happen to mom, right? Mom's gonna always be there, right? I believe that a mother would truly give her life for her child. Had my mom not been diagnosed, had she not died, my husband and my daughters could have lived their life without me. And I believe if my mom knew she had to make the sacrifice so that we could live, she would do it all over again, because that's what mothers do. Losing my mother was the defining moment of my life. Genetic testing was the pivotal moment of my life. It changed the trajectory of the impact of this disease from my past to my present. It has created a blueprint for my standard of care and for how my daughters will manage their health as they get older. We all know someone who's been impacted by cancer, whether it be the patient, the caregivers, the children, family, or their friends. This disease impacts us physically, mentally, and emotionally in different times and in different ways. So I challenge you again with these 3 things. Educate yourself on your individual and your family health history. Equip yourself with the tools and resources to make informed health decisions. Have conversations with your doctors. Men and women, have your monthly and annual screenings and exams. And finally, empower yourself, advocate for yourself and others and the next generation. Make your health a priority. Thank you.